Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coach Kyle here, and I want to tell you maybe the most important the most important skill you can have as a runner, aside from just like going out and running. And the reason I bring this up is because it's coming from a number of different sources. I had a client this morning tweak his ankle on a long run, and I told him, he said it's not feeling super awesome after the run. So I told him to skip tomorrow's easy 3 miler and just take a full rest day. And I'm doing a video series for my local running club, the Black Hills Runners Club, and we're doing kind of a winter mileage challenge. And I think the next video that I make for them will be about this skill, and because it's very important when you're trying to stay injury free as a runner, which we all are. And I had an old client of mine message me and asking me to make this video, as a reminder to I think a friend of hers. I don't know, maybe she was kind of talking about herself. She's a sarcastic one, so I'm not sure. But the skill is being able to not run when something isn't as it should be. If you're ill, if you tweak an ankle, the best runners are the ones, and best, I mean fastest, the elites, also your everyday, your Boston qualifier, but also just the guy that has been running for 30 years every single day, it seems like. The skill to not run is incredibly important, because if something's not right, if you're ill, you tweak an ankle, you give it 2 days, or if you're ill, you might give it a week. You'll probably be fine. You'll heal up, you'll rejuvenate, you'll regenerate faster. That brings up another point. A new client of mine who we started working together very recently, and his shin wasn't quite awesome, and we were doing everything we could to get him into his race, but the shin just continued to not feel great all the time. So we decided he's going to take the next couple weeks off. And I told him, it's best to do this now, rest up now, rather than push off getting better. And it's the same if you're ill, take as soon as you feel symptoms, or if you decide that it's just not getting better and you're not feeling up to running, take 3 days off. You'll probably end up taking those 3 days off and feeling better sooner than you would otherwise. And it's the same, there's been a number of times where I've kind of tweaked something, an ankle on a trail run, maybe a little calf tweak, or I've had some quad problems in the past couple of years intermittently, pop up. But every time, with a period of rest as soon as possible, I've been able to basically get right back out there. This last time I took a full month off, nearly off, and now I'm about 3-4 weeks into normal training, totally fine. If I would have tried to continue with my training schedule when those first 2 weeks, instead of taking the 2 weeks mostly off, who knows, but I probably would have developed a full-blown quad strain, where I just wouldn't be able to run at all. So often with something that just doesn't feel quite right during a run, you give it 2 days and you might never hear from it again. So, in the past with my quad problems, before the Fort Collins Marathon 2 years ago maybe, and before the Sundance to Spearfish Marathon last fall, each build up to the races, each build up had a single week where I felt my left quad kind of being a little funky. So I dialed it back for that week, and until mile 16, 13, whatever, 20 of these marathons. Until that, other than that single week, the quad was totally fine. And that's why it was so unexpected during the marathons, because, I had this little quad niggle for a couple days during each training campaign towards each marathon. And I rested, dialed it back for a week, and was absolutely okay. And if I would have tried to stick with my planned runs for that week, instead of modifying the week from how my quad was feeling, who knows, I might not have even made it to the starting line of those marathons. So when in doubt, if you ever think, gosh, something just doesn't feel quite right, I'm not sure if I should go run, when in doubt, it's always best to rest. The ego wants to stick to the training plan, wants to run harder, faster, more often, but the ego is not the amigo, and it shouldn't be dictating your training. Ask yourself, what would Coach Kyle do? Coach Kyle would rest. Ask yourself, what would I do if I was my coach? And my job as a coach, my number one job as a coach, is to get my clients to where they want to be uninjured. Because if they get hurt, I'm out of a job. So it's always if your race is coming up really quickly, it's always best to show up to race day, show up to the starting line 10% undertrained versus 1% injured, because undertrained means you're healthy and you're just a tiny bit less fit. And that's always better than being overtrained or injured. So, I hope, keep this stuff in mind. I hope something was helpful. Think long term, think safe, sustainable, and, most importantly, have fun. And being healthy and running is a lot more fun than having an ankle sprain or not feeling well and trying to go out and run and ending up getting worse. So that's all I got for today. Questions or comments, please drop them below. And as always, you keep running. Unless something doesn't feel right, I'll keep coaching.